Welcome to Panache Luxury and the continuation of the Deluxe Reading Dream Kitchen build. Today, a washer and dryer. Since the Deluxe Reading Dream Kitchen set didn't come with a washer and dryer, I thought I would indulge in the idea of these appliances. Referencing some from the 1960s, I sketched the pieces, then got down to work. The original plan was to use half-gallon milk cartons to make the washer and dryer, but I decided instead to build the appliances from scratch using foam board. But I'm going to be using liquid detergent containers for the centers, miniature plugs that are going to go into a cord that's going to come out of the back of the washer and the dryer. And this is from a CPAP machine. And this was from an old machine, so I was able to grab this. And so this is going to be connected to the back of the dryer. Originally, the washer and dryer were made the exact size of the lower half of the kitchen appliances, which is 5 inches by 6 inches by 4 inches, much too large for the 17.5 inch by 24 inch laundry room space. So the appliances were remade to fit, keeping the 5 by 6 dimensions, but changing the tops, bottoms, and sides. Later in the video, you'll see how these are changed to accommodate the space where the appliances will be placed. The washer and dryer consist of 3 walls, front, middle, and back. The liquid detergent caps were cut from 2.5 inches to 2 inches. I used scissors to cut the inner well, then a box cutter to cut it off, making sure to butt the cutter against the lip of the outer cap. Begin with cutting open the middle here. And how I did this was that I just punched holes all the way to the back as far as I could get it. There we go. And it takes a little bit of finessing to punch the top inside. Okay, there we go. To cover the circle imperfections, the lip of an Activia yogurt cup was carefully sliced off, then glued over the rim, giving the appliances a cleaner look. Some adjustments to the washer, and what I did was I took the laundry detergent cap and I moved it, actually I moved the middle wall to the very back, and because I added a feature to the front wall, and I opened up the wall here because I wanted a drawer to go in, and I made this cute little drawer to go in, and that would be a drawer for the detergent. And then I also made a little box for it, because I was thinking down the road that perhaps if the glue weared off, or the front was pulled off or something, and just by accident that drawer went inside the washer, that at least there would be something, a little compartment that would catch it. There's another little feature I wanted to put on there. I wanted to put like a little mini basket on the front here on the bottom. This little and little piece here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to use that as a cover for the hose, because over time, you know, dust will get inside and that kind of thing. So I thought it would be kind of nice to have a cover over that to prevent that from happening. So once the hose is put into the wall, then this is going to be glued on to the wall on the other side. So that way the hose is cut on a pre-marked section. I discovered after attaching the hose to the dryer that there was lots of space between it and the wall. So I'm going to have to remove the cap. And the only problem that I'm encountering is that the hose is too small for the opening. So what I thought I would do is take a circle here, and this is made out of mat board, and I'm going to cover that opening, and then I'm going to make another opening there, and this will allow for a perfect fit. The hose fit loosely in the opening, so a piece of paper towel was wrapped on the end, glued, securing it in the dryer. A second circle was made for the wall where the hose would be inserted. It too was painted. A hole was then cut into the wall for the hose. The circle was glued, then put over the opening. I begin by gluing the drawer compartment to the back of the front wall, then attaching the front wall to the cap, which from this point forward will be known as the drum. Since I failed to film the entire construction of the washer, footage from the construction of the original dryer will be used to demonstrate how it and the current dryer were constructed. Dollhouse bandages were applied to the washer and the dryer to give the appliances a finished look. A 2-inch by 6-inch piece of cardboard was cut for a liner for the drum. I then curl the board, creating sections. The nice thing about corrugated cardboard, it's pliable, making it easy to shape. A piece of foil is then cut to cover the board, then lines of hot glue are put between each section. The board is then covered and several holes punched in it, mimicking the drum of a real dryer. A 2-inch circle is then cut and covered with foil for the bottom of the drum. The board ends are glued together, then the liner is inserted in the drum. A final coat of ice blue acrylic paint was applied to the washer and detergent drawer. 2 coats of paint were applied to both appliances. Here's a look at the dryer so far. A full demonstration on how the door and the electrical cord were installed will be shown on the washer in a moment. Acorn or cap screws will be used for buttons for the washer and the dryer. While the paint dried on the washer, a button was attached to the dryer. The shape of the acorn screw was marked on the dryer, then chiseled out. A deluxe emblem was made for the dryer, typing one out, then printing it. It was then cut out and attached to a piece of cardboard. To give the emblem a pronounced appearance, it was coated with gloss Mod Podge, then glued to the dryer. I chose to use recap lids for mason jars for the doors. I have to say I was pretty apprehensive about cutting the caps and lids because there was only one chance to get it right. Like the cap and lid for the dryer, it was going to take some elbow grease. I again started with the cap because it was the easiest to maneuver. I smooth out the cap so it'll lay flat on the washer. Onto the lid. Using my circle template, a 2-inch circle was marked on the lid. To reach the circle markings, superficial cuts are made in the center of the lid and repeatedly sliced over until the blade cuts through. The lid is also smoothed out. While cutting out the lids, I accidentally made 2 cuts on the front. This was disappointing because I wanted the lid to look just like the other. Using E6000, I glued the cap to the washer face. I'm positioning the buttons in the basket on the washer. With a toothpick, I tuck the edges in around the buttons. After the plexiglass is installed in the washer's window, a pre-cut piece of cardstock is glued on top to cover the rim. The cardstock piece is painted with sterling silver acrylic paint. To construct the electrical cord, I'll be using plastic lacing, miniature plugs, and a seam ripper, and all can be used in place of the ripper. Using the dryer cord as a guide, I measure out the washer's cord. Ideally, a cloth cord or yarn would have worked fine, but I chose to use plastic lacing. In order for it to pass through the top of the plug, I had to cut it at an angle where there was a point. Once I got the lacing through, it was glued into place between the prongs. On to gluing down the appliances. After the installation of the appliances, it dawned on me hot and cold water supply hoses were needed for the washer, so I used the following items to accomplish just that. I begin by removing the cord from the keyboard, then cutting two predetermined pieces, which will act as the hot and cold water hoses. I then make an opening for the first hose, then put tacky glue on the end and reinsert it into the machine. The same steps were followed for the second hose. An opening was then made in the wall for the other end of the hose. To make the hot and cold water pipes, I cut 2 skewers, which will be attached to the back of the washer and positioned on top of the hose. Rather than painting the skewers, each was covered with duct tape to blend in with the hose. After the pipes were attached, knobs made from old buttons in my stash were prepared for installation. The button loops are removed. The knobs are attached to the pipes. Let this be a lesson, girls and boys, to pay closer attention to the finer details of a project. Wall plugs made of cardstock and cardboard cut into squares were attached to the wall. The final step in the project was to wrap aluminum foil around the dryer hose, mimicking that of real dryers. And now, the Deluxe Reading Dream Kitchen washer and dryer. While having her morning coffee, Juliet waits for the first load of laundry to wash. She and the other dolls are excited about the new washer and dryer just delivered by Sears. I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Deluxe Reading Dream Kitchen build, and if so, give it a like and be sure to comment, share, and subscribe for more fabulous videos. And remember, wherever you are in the world, be good to yourself and to others.